On the Blooming Prairie Coaches Show on KRFO Radio, brought to you by Olympic Fire Protection, transitioning now to the spring sports season and softball and track and field, the early ones to open up with practice, visiting with Ali Mach, the softball coach. And even though, it's gotten a little wild here and it's gotten a little more raw weather-wise in the last few days, with the awfully warm weather we've had so far, the field has got to be looking pretty good there and everywhere around southern part of the state, Ali?
Yeah, I think so. Our field's going to need a little work before the season really gets going for us, but we hope it warms up again here and dries out a little bit more so we can get out there and do some work on it, and then we'll be able to get out there and play. But yeah, we have been fortunate to have a pretty nice early start to the spring, which kind of makes me nervous as far as how the later part of the spring is going to be, but it has been good that the weather has warmed up and fields are open, and hopefully that allows us to be able to play games right away in April.
Did you graduate a lot off last year's team?
Yeah, we graduated a couple girls, girls that had been part of the program for a long time, in Madison Workey and Tessa Ivers, and they're going to be difficult to replace, but we also, have a good number of our starters back from last year as well, so we should be, in pretty good shape in that regard as far as having experience. What's the pitching situation? Well, Ellie Strunk is a junior this year, so this will be her third year starting for us, and we anticipate that she'll continue to improve. And I really feel that this year she should really be one of those dominating pitchers for us. And she's been strong the last 2 years, but I think that experience she's had the last 2 years and the growth that she's had as a young lady has really shown that I think she's really ready to take on and move to that next level and really help our team. When it comes to the defense and offense, what kind of strengths or experience do you have back in those spots? We have, a lot of defensive experience. We have all of our outfielders back and another player that has an opportunity to earn a role there. And, we have our infielders, a lot of them were starters as well. Madison played shortstop for us last year, and we lost Tessa at catcher, so those are some two key spots that we're going to have to fill. But we have a handful of girls that are familiar with those positions, and we hope that they can fill that and transition to that pretty seamlessly for us. Offensively, we'll have maybe a different style of game than we've had in the past. We don't have quite as few slappers like we've had, but we do have some weapons, and again, experience is going to help us. We are a very small team. We only have 11 girls, 9 through 12, so there aren't a lot of options there for us, but we have girls that have been part of the program for quite some time and have a lot of varsity experience. What kind of things do you accomplish right away in practice when maybe you are limited to being indoors? I actually like being indoors those first 2 weeks or so just because it allows us to really break things down and work on skills. So we spent a lot of time this week working on pitchers and catchers and getting the endurance built up and some basic skill stuff. And then we get some time to, work with our hitters and just focus on the skills again and developing the swing. And, we'll get through a lot of stuff here. And then the hopes that, after 2 weeks we get pretty worn out with that and then we get ourselves outside and be able to do more full team type drills, but we definitely take advantage of the space. We use it. We work hard in the gym, and I think it helps our program altogether just to have that time to really work on skill development. What does the new four classes now mean for Blooming Prairie? It really doesn't have much of an impact on us, just with our size being very small. In consideration of some of these other schools. The schools that were Class A schools that we compete against have remained Class A schools. A couple of those 2A schools obviously moved up to 3A, but I really don't think it has much of an impact on the smaller schools. That's more of a situation that impacts some of those larger schools that get pushed up in that next division, but they really just created that separation, having fewer schools participate in those bigger classes, and then obviously keeping that number pretty large in our single A class. Okay. And then as far as the season for Blooming Prairie softball, when are you hoping to kick this thing off? Our first game's in early April. I believe it's April 5th. Yep. But from there, our first couple of games, actually, we are traveling away, which is helpful with our field situation. But, Depending on the weather, we can maybe get those games in. You know, I've coached long enough to know that it's not going to be great early on. Maybe we'll get a weekend of nice weather, and then we'll have a couple weeks where it gets pretty difficult again. So, you know, it'd be nice to get a handful of those games in early and then have some time to practice and regroup and you know, continue playing. But, you know, once we get started, it kind of moves pretty quickly with a few weeks that are available and so many games that we end up playing.
All right, well, good luck with the practice and getting outside and getting those first games in. Thank you, Ali.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Ali Mach, softball coach for Blooming Prairie on KRFO Radio.